Here we go. Oh, I had that up.
No, I did that.
Oh, thank you. All right, for our final video in this series on the Rifter number 23, we're going to take a look at the fairy hunt. Wait, what's the actual thing called? The fairy harvest. The fairy culling. Or how to snatch a fairy, put it into an item, and make it do your bidding for you for the rest of its natural life. Well, we're about to find out how the Splugorth do that, why the Splugorth do that, and if you want to do that starting now. And Heathen Dog's probably already nodding his head. Of course you want to do that.
Of course. I mean, how to make fairies fun and useful. This is your guide.
So this one I am going to read because I think it's fun.
Cool.
All right. A sickening commerce.
Toughen up, baby.
As players of Rifts know all too well, the Splugorth are serious and dangerous presence in many part of the Megaverse. These malignant alien intelligence delight in the most twisted forms of commerce, especially when it comes to enslavement and manipulation of quote-unquote lesser beings. Biowizardry takes both of these sickening Splugorthian delights.
Well, you're really trying to make me believe this is bad. I'm not there.
Well, I just now have that Afternoon Delight song stuck in my head. Splugorthian delights. To an even more horrifying level, combining enslavement with the genetic manipulation of various creatures through dark magic. Characters from Rift's Earth, the 3 galaxies, and a multitude of other dimensions are aware of Splugorth biowizardry in many of its horrible forms. Others are unaware of the dangers biowizardry may present to them or to their friends, allies, and loved ones. Is your loved one a fairy? Just asking.
No.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Some eagerly buy such items to augment themselves, control others, or deceive their enemies. Products of Splugorth biowizardry range from terrible and deceptive parasites, like the destructive Beastifier. Okay, that's a dumb name. And the debilitating Mystic Leech. That's a more cool name, more evocative. To weird and disfiguring symbiotes like the bizarre Chest Amalgamate.
That one's rough.
And the microscope.
Well, no. Have you ever seen Basket Case?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Well, look it up. Only instead of on the side, it's on his chest.
Okay. I think they might talk about that later because I think there's a picture of something like that in a little bit.
Okay.
Chest Amalgamate and the microscopic Transfortifiers. Okay. You know, you're not selling me anymore. They were so cool until you named them.
More than meets the eye. Got it.
Transportifiers. But with where are we? But with many horrid creations the Splugorth and their minions invent, the various Splugorth lords engage in a sickening competition of constantly creating new and demented parasites, symbiotes, and weapons using living organisms to further their sordid agenda and promote their twisted marketing schemes. There's really nothing twisted about marketing in this one. Look, it does crap you can't do. You want it? Yeah. All right. Go get me some fairies. Recently, Lord Splugorth of Atlantis and several of his competitors in Splugorth realms across the Megaverse have introduced a new and terrible form of biowizardry, even worse than what was before. Utilization of fairy-focused components and weapons and magic items of terrible power. On Rift's Earth, Splugorth minions from Atlantis increasingly scour both Newfoundland and the British Isles, particularly Ireland, because we all know the Irish have no souls, for fairy folk to be placed inside such weapons as the Blizzard Staff, the Floodwater Pistol, or the perpetual and highly popular Fairy PPE Battery.
I love that. The idea makes me happy.
Knockoffs and similar items have been popping up in Splugorth markets across the Megaverse. Lord Clincrith, biowizards in level 3A of Center on planet known as Phase World, pay a premium for captured fairy folk to bind to their own weapons and magic items. A new trend has begun, driven by the voracious and malignant demand of Splugorth markets. Unfortunately, most fairy folk do not have the means to effectively defend themselves from such increasingly frequent Splugorth raids. You know, pretty soon we're just going to see fairy farms. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be fairy farms.
It's going to be the Matrix only for fairies.
There you go. While some welcome the availability of such weapons, others fear that it may spell the beginning of the eradication or perhaps the total enslavement of fairy folk.
Oh no, cry me a river. Ugh.
Many are beginning to call this terrible trend the Faerie Harvest. No, they're calling it the culling. It's just for whatever reason that's a bad word to say. It's a culling. The Faerie Harvest. The Faerie Harvest is what the used car sales or the used fairy salesman puts on it to make it sound good. Below are a few of the new items recently introduced into Splugorth markets across the Megaverse. While Atlantis still dominates the market niche for BioWizardry using fairy-focused components, such items are becoming increasingly available on other Splugorth markets. See Risk World Book 21, Splin, Special Market for more detail on BioWizardry using fairy-folk components. They're really trying to sell Heathen Dog on this book. You have it though, don't you?
Dude, you're preaching to the converted. I mean, just give me the bottom line. We'll take my money.
Now, the items listed here are optional, and the Game Master should have the final call on whether or not to allow such BioWizards into his or her game. Sentence that part of me says you never need this. That's always the case. Why tell people this? And then I remember because some people argue with Game Masters for some reason. All right, the first one, the Fear Emanator. Okay. This item is the first symbiotic organism created from a fairy by the Splugorth BioWizards of Atlantis. The Fear Emanator uses a bogey that is induced to transform into its arachnid or centipede form. Midway through the transformation process, the metamorphosis is arrested and the bogey is incapacitated, although awake. BioWizard surgery is then performed and the little creature is transformed into a symbiote. Experimentation on other types of fairy folk is ongoing, but progress is slow. Nobody likes slow progress. We want the stuff now. And uses up a great deal of fairies that might otherwise be used in established BioWizard products. So, you got that. Do we want to try something new? These products cost money, man. We got to harvest these things. I love by the way, and I did catch this when I was reading it. I love the verbiage used in here sometimes where it's like, that's just a waste of product. All right. Its type is a symbiote. Yep. Its host type, humans, DVs, other mortal creatures, yada yada. What does it do? Reproduction? Well, none, because bogies are typically harvested from the wild by Splugorth minions in Britain, Ireland, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. Some minions make forays into continental Europe or the eastern regions of North America, but the islands on either side of the Northern Atlantic provide an ample crop of bogies for the time being. Thus far, the Splugorth have been unable to breed bogies and other kinds of fairy folk in captivity.
They'll figure it out.
Sooner or later. Hit points not applicable. A mega damage creature with 1d4 times 10 MDC. Average lifespan, effectively immortal, but does not impart this mortality onto the wearer.
Okay, so it dies when you die.
It does, yes. The bogey symbiote typically dies when the wearer dies. There you go. Regardless of the cause. The Fear Emanator can... Okay, well, let's just look at the stats. What does it do?
Yeah.
See, that's why it's like this. See, there's your bug.
Yep.
Powers. Who cares about alignment? It's just gross. Nobody needs alignment when it's gross.
No one cares.
As its power might suggest, the Fear Emanator gives its host the power to project fear as per the spell of the same name. At 10th level mastery. Additionally, the wearer is... What's that?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Additionally, the wearer is imparted with night vision through the bogey's eyes. So if the Fear Emanator is worn on the forearm, the host simply concentrates and points the arm where he or she wants to look. The host also acquires the bogey's ability to sense water at 40%, ley lines at 55%. Despite many efforts of Splugorth BioWizards, these symbiotes are not able to retain the various other spell-like abilities of the bogies.
Oh, well, that's fine. Projecting fear at 10th level ability is pretty good on its own. The whole finding water thing, okay, whatever. The whole finding ley line thing, all right. That's not bad, but
I mean, finding water is good for if you're, lost.
Yeah. It's fine. Seeing that, CPK said gave $10. Thank you very much for $10. I know what my Rift's engineered Dinobot robot armor with fairy powered weapons. Yep. That's what you need.
I'll even give him a little thumbs up on that one too. Give him a thumbs up on that super chat, folks. All right. Now the Sea Devil Aquatic Cycle. Well, now we're going to see what happens when you group fairies together.
Okay. Chain the batteries together.
There you go.
Then you get the Splugorth version of a Tesla.
Well, a
Ski-Doo.
A Ski-Doo that can go underwater.
Okay.
Many Splugorth one-person vehicles function very well underwater or on the high seas, but most are designed for aerial maneuvering or ground use. Most Splugorth vehicles designed for use on or underwater are reliant upon technology with a few magical options. Well, we're going to change that. The only magical vehicles operated by the Splugorth on the seas and oceans across the Megaverse are typically large ships. I now want to make a 30-second short commercial that advertises one of these. I'm going to do that. I'm going to find the time to make a 30-second video that advertises one of these.
Where you have a whole bunch of fairies in glass containers banging on the glass, being shoved into this thing, and have it power up, and then in the very in the background you can hear them all screaming a little bit.
That might be beyond my capability to make, but
damn it, but that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Large ships. The Sea Devil is a new item that is specifically designed to address the gap between magical and technological vehicles built to accommodate one person. Although,
oh my god, the way this is written, it's even better. It's even better. This is for the upper middle class Splugorth citizen who wants to ride in style during whatever their version of the 4th of July is on their watercraft of choice. This is great. This is the upper class personal watercraft for the discerning slave master. I love it. I love it.
And it's not quite to that level, but this is almost written up in advertising speak. Like, they're trying
to sell it, and I'm already sold.
Although currently quite expensive, there has been an enthusiastic response to the item as the Splugorth have test marketed the gruesome vehicle across the Megaverse. What's gruesome about it? It's a ski-doo that goes underwater. On Rift's Earth, the Haroon are particularly excited about the small vessel as they fit well within the philosophy of corrupting innocent or beautiful life forms in order to raid and pillage those less powerful than they. Might makes right, right?
Boo-hoo.
The pirates prefer to use the prize Sea Devils as scouts and in special operations rather than large-scale engagements where they can be lost in combat. Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah, I get it. But, they even did that in Waterworld. All the ski-doos were in front, just scouting around and stuff like that.
Now, this vehicle draws power on not one, but 4 living beings attached to it through the twisted arts of biowizardry. A mermaid or a marrow is captured and imprisoned. I can't wait to show you the picture of that. Bound to the underside of a vaguely fin-shaped vehicle that also resembles a motorcycle or hovercycle. Meanwhile, a water sprite is similarly bound to the front upside portion of the vehicle ahead of where the pilot is to sit. Finally, 2 Eyes of Ilar. By the way, Eyes of Ilar seem to be in like all of these items. I don't know what they are. What are Eyes of Ilar?
They are another supernatural creature. But I don't think they have a natural intelligence or anything, but they are supremely magical. They emanate a lot of magic. So it was one of the first things the Splugorth used biowizardry for. They put them in staves. They put them in vehicles because they augment sensory type magic, and they can use sensory type magic. So like radar, sonar, seeing in the dark, infravision, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, that kind of explains why they seem to be in like every item in this list here. It's like they got to be either popular or common or something, but okay, that explains it. Finally, 2 small Eyes of Ilar are attached to either side of the vehicle, augmenting its abilities and powers. Okay, let's take a look. I want to zoom to the front end of this because that's where all the
look at that.
You got the fairy bound up here, like he's just chained. He's got
tubes coming out of him.
Tubes coming out of him. And you got the Eye of Ilar here. You can't really see it, but you got the littler fairy up here.
Yep.
So I mean, he seems to be comfy. His hands are in a nice resting position.
But the thing is, why do we have to give him a window? He's not the pilot. Well, I would spray paint over that.
I want to show off my fairy. Look, man, if you're going to have one of these things, you want to show it off.
Oh, fair. Okay. Yeah, it's fair.
All right. MDC by location. Why is this important? Because you might want to free your fairy.
There's no freeing it. It's already basically brain dead. Shut up.
Sometimes. I think in this one there, yeah. Water Sprite Chamber is 50 MDC. The Mermaid Chamber is 100. Eye of Ilar, 40. Main body, 270. And it talks about if you shoot them, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Yeah, aim shots, stuff like that. You have to, it's harder.
Also note that fairies 80% likely to die from the destruction of the chamber in combat.
Yep.
And so What is it to note that destroying an eye will knock out the cycle's magic powers drawn from that particular Eye of Ilar, save the ability to conduct trick maneuvers, which is drawn from both eyes. Should the second Eye of Ilar be destroyed, however, the vehicle will operate at lower performance levels. So it's reduced by 1/3 for each IU.
Okay.
As long as one eye retains a single point of MDC, it can regenerate the MDC of itself and the vehicle at a rate of 2d6 per hour.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
So a self-healing ski-doo that goes underwater too. Again, take my money.
Silent swimming, it can go through water with effectively the Pearl of 70%. Magic swimming speed, you can zoom underneath the water at 100 miles per hour. But you're like,
double along ley line.
Like, that's not safe because that much water rushing past me will kill me. No, it is a magical vehicle. You'll be fine.
You'll be good.
Just
don't worry.
Don't kill the Eye of Ilar. Magic aquatic agility. As long as one or both the fairies within the forward chamber are alive, the aquatic cycle has an augmented ability to dodge obstacles or attack while in flight. +6 to dodge. They also give the pilot a +15% to piloting skills and trick maneuvers.
Damn.
Why wouldn't you want a fairy stuck to one of these?
I know, right? This is all upside here. I don't understand. Power system. That's the important part.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. See, land capabilities. Cannot perform on land, but can be dry docked without ill effect. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Now, power system, as he says, 2 small Eyes of Ilar and the imprisoned fairy, all with indefinite lifespans. That means...
Never runs out of gas. What the hell? What the hell?
Now, for those of you who care about living beings, yes, it is being tortured for infinity.
Yes, yes. I mean, this is not a pleasant thing. Having your life essence, siphoned off, repurposed. This is absolute. Think about being waterboarded forever. That's what this is.
I didn't see it written in this one, but a lot of them will say the consciousness of the fairy. It'll be like, it's unconscious or it's lobotomized or whatever. This one doesn't seem to say it. So apparently this fairy could actually be conscious.
Yeah, that's probably why there's a window there. because the Splugorth want it to be not only in pain, but be aware of everything that's going on, just for the added, screw you. I'm not that evil. Like I said, I'd spray paint over it, but.
And I'm not going to read the other powers that it gets, but you get some sensory powers and so forth, and some spells. But you get the oh yeah, I forgot about this. A whole bunch of others that come from the mermaid or marrow and the water sprite. So you have a bunch of freaking abilities that you get with this. If you want to know more, buy the book. If you aren't already sold, you weren't going to care about those powers anymore. So what's the next one? The next one's a seeker pod. Now this is a pleasant looking one, right? That guy up front looks like he's hanging out.
Why you give him a view?
Maybe that's a requirement. I don't know.
I'm not your tour guide. You're not getting free travel, thing for me. You black that out. Black paint. Get that out of there.
Designated as a surveillance and search and destroy vehicle, the Splugorth Seeker Pod is often used to locate and hunt down dangerous enemies of the Splugorth. Well, maybe this guy has to see in order for you to get the powers.
Let's find out.
It's a favorite of various Splugorth Lords' elite forces, including the Sunaj, the infamous D Squad of Splin, and highly trained minions specializing in assassination, interdimensional pursuit, or hunter-killer. The pod is essentially a hover cycle with an imprisoned and bound leprechaun. Well, he's sniffing your gold out for you. In a forward section of the vehicle, and a large Eye of Ilar in the stern. Oh, there it is back there. Wow, that is a large one.
It is
larger than the ones on the other bike.
Yeah, they come in various sizes. Yeah.
The leprechaun's powers are at the disposal of the pod's pilot, augmenting the already formidable array of powers drawn from the Eye of Ilar. The Sunaj are particularly fond of seeker pods and use them when searching out a variety of targets, particularly those in hiding. I suppose if you have a big eyeball on there, it kind of makes sense. Seeker pods are relatively new. Okay, let's just go down here. They have 100 MDC and only on 50 main body, which I thought was a little weird considering the jet ski had more, but whatever, it is what it is. 80% chance of killing the leprechaun. What does it get for powers, though? Where were we here? So, silent flight. Prowl at 80% while flying.
That's cool.
You can fly... What's that?
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Can hover stationary or fly at 150 miles per hour. Underwater, can perform underwater, but all the bonuses abilities drawn from the leprechaun are negated while under the surface water. That's fine. You can go there. You can hide out under the water and then sploosh your way out. Power system, once again, Eye of Ilar, but also the leprechaun a little bit.
And it's indefinite lifespans. Okay.
Plus 15 to piloting skills, plus 4 to initiative, plus 4 to strike and dodge. And
Damn.
all these optics, again, same optics before. I know I didn't read them. I'm not going to read them now. If you want to pause it, but we're not going to read all that. And you get all these spells. Look at all these spells.
Yep.
So, there you go. Windrunner aerial cycle. I mean, look at this. Now you got a little bit more. Look at it. You can lean your head back and get a little look at that cushion.
Oh,
yeah,
that looks like a very, very comfortable seat. I'm good with that.
It does. That's a stature that they put in this one. And I'm not going to read this one. I want to get to the gun.
No, don't get to the gun. Get to the fairy battery. That's what I came to see.
Okay, well, but I want to do the gun because I love the image of the gun.
That is unfortunate.
I love it. That you want to be that demon? I don't want to be that. The bespoiler rifle. What does it do? Well, it
ruins your food.
It takes a puck, which is a demon. A puck is magically bound and melded with the Techno-Wizard device. The result is a giant-sized, organic-looking rifle that draws upon the evil fairy's PPE and abilities. The puck is both crippled and awake while it is melded with the mechanical device.
Sounds like a great deal.
The process that involves intense pain and trauma for the ugly fairy. Well, that's what you get from being ugly. You don't have pretty woman privilege.
Yeah.
The weapon somehow mutates the puck's natural ability to spoil food, water, and drink into a far deadlier attack. When activated, a blast of dark, twisted energy fires from the barrel protruding out from the imprisoned puck's mouth. Mm-hmm. The energy bypasses body armor to inflict damage upon the individual. Unless the victim saves versus magic at a -2, the spoiling blast actually causes portions of the victim's body to instantaneously rot away, inflicting tremendous damage.
Wow.
That's why I wanted to read all that.
Yeah, even if you're against slavery, this thing's worth it.
Rate of fire. So it's 46 direct damage to hit points, or MDC, depending on the nature of the target.
Not effective against robots or heavily armored opponents. Actually beneficial to vampires, ghouls, and zombies and other forms of undead. Oh, really? Beneficial? Vampires only have hit points. So how is that? Okay.
Cost 25 million credits, so you're not getting it tomorrow.
No.
Well, it depends on your group. But yes. And look at this poor guy, the pacifist cannon. What is that? I forget what demon that is, or fairy. Also called the P cannon. A Spriggan is magically bound and melded with a Techno-Wizard item. The Spriggan
that's another evil fairy. Are they only using evil fairies? Well, no. The mermaid is. I don't think the mermaid's a good one.
But they're meaner to the crippled ones, or to the evil ones. The Spriggan is crippled and kept awake the entire time it is combined with the magical device.
Yep.
The unfortunate fairy is also aware of its predicament and is in intense pain after the entire process over. So there you go. Let's get to where is the PP battery? Toadstool gasser. Oh, I guess that's not here.
What?
Maybe that's it. Well, isn't that in the regular BioWizardry book, or
no
Atlantis book? Oh, really? Okay.
I wanted to see my fairy battery. The fairy going, no.
So this next part is a story about the war in Faerie. That's basically it's hunters hunted. Okay. We're not going to dive into that, but it does go into what does a harvesting squad look like. This is you guys have seen Stargate Atlantis. Come on, get over there. Stay over there. These are the Wraith culling, humans.
Sure.
Except for in this case, it's fairies. And then there are monsters that they have created for the express purpose of hunting fairies. By the way, these wasps, I'm not going to read them. I can look over them a second. These wasps will go directly for a fairy and not attack the opponent you want them to, unless the Splugorth or the person that's got the blessing of the Splugorth says, stop it, go drag Heathen Dog, not the fairy. And then I'll be like, fine. But it really wants to go after fairies. That's its job.
Great.
I'm creeped out by bugs as it is already when they're only this big. I will just pass out, and luckily I'm not a fairy, but
yeah, if you were a fairy and you hated bugs, well, here's a double whammy.
Well, then there's the Faerie Knight RCC, the defender, the protector of the fairy. Aw, look at him. Let's take a look at him.
Slower down of the inevitable.
Slower down of the inevitable. There you go. What was I looking at? There was something that stood out to me that I wanted to. He's got the off factor, RCC bonuses. What was it that stuck out to me? Because he doesn't have. Oh yeah, they did. Okay, that just didn't say it there. He's only 3 foot tall, but he's got supernatural strength and physical endurance. I was like, okay, that was surprising to me.
So, okay.
Yeah, but if you got this little 3 foot guy and he's threatening you, you might want to think twice before.
Yeah, I mean, 3d6 plus 6 isn't awesome. You're not going to do a lot of damage, but you're still going to do some mega damage with a punch from a 4 foot tall dude, and that might set you back some.
And there you go. Could I have dove into this more? Maybe, but I didn't want to. I think you got enough information here to determine if this is for you or not. I'll be honest with you. If you're playing in a campaign like this, like fairies or dislike fairies, like DBs, don't dislike DBs, whatever. I thought the Faerie Knight RCC was interesting. It was an interesting response to everything that's going on. And one of the things that I appreciate that Kevin does in his games, and now I know this is a rifter, not an official source, but it kind of took on that motif. Here is the problem. Here is the response. And the Faerie Knight RCC actually, as kind of the defender, makes sense. So I liked it conceptually. Would I ever play with? No. I mean, but I don't play things like this anyway. But it is something that I think you could add to your game, and that could be fun if you deal with fairy folk a lot. If you don't, it's kind of stupid to put in there. But you do you. All right. So what are our comments? Here.
Dartheek says, I'm kind of wondering if the chamber for the fairies is transparent just to show the players where and how the fairies are mounted. And then Damien says, no, it's to show that the battery's still there. You don't want to be sold a lemon, right? Like, oh, so someone took out the fairy battery and is just trying to sell you junk.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
I took it more as in the Splugorth don't care. It was a design choice, and it could be a combination of that, but also like, look what we did.
Yeah, it could be a status thing. Like look at this. I'm a fairy slave battery owner. That's like, higher tier in the Splugorth Empire. So, I'm cooler now. And then Polyrobotic says battery is in the Splin dimensional market book. Okay. All right. That's fair. Now,
overall, my thoughts on this. A lot of times when I do these deep dives, I find things that are creepy or weird or whatever. Yes, that is partially true. And the reason I do that is because when I hear a lot of people talking about rifts, they tend to go one of two ways. They're evil anarchists, evil douche nozzles that are just going out there for the lulz and the kicks. Oh, burn down buildings for fun, whatever. Or they're on the flip side and they're like the Jedi Cyber Knight and they want to do what's right for everybody and so forth. And I put this out here like the universe is gray. Okay. I'm not saying you should get these items. I don't even think they might even be good for player characters as a whole. But you're going to have to deal with, if you're in the right area, you might come across these hunters. You might help them. You might accidentally help them. Hey, we're trying to catch this evil fairy. Yeah, I'll help you catch an evil fairy. Thanks.
And you might need to use the underwater murder cycle to do what you have to do.
There you go.
Now, how are you going to feel now?
So they just put a towel over that so you didn't see it. Yeah, spray paint like you were saying.
Like I said, spray paint it or put some stickers over it.
So I liked it because in my games do tend to be visceral. This is the type of stuff I would love to put into my games to make the players think about where this stuff comes from. Because I do believe it's creepy and wrong and horrible, but I don't run riffs, so I'd be thinking more after the bomb TMNT or I guess I don't really run Robotech, but something more on a human level, like that's cousin Jimmy over there.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, in sci-fi, there have been several instances where, it was either made from or powered by people. Whatever the MacGuffin we're talking about.
Soylent Green is human, right?
Yeah, it's people. And then there was recently, I remember an episode of first season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds where the main computer system, which kept an entire civilization alive, was actually being powered by a child that had to be replaced every so often. Stuff like that.
What's more important, that one child or all of society?
Or the entire civilization. There you go. You have to make these moral choices. And these weapons and cycles compared to a strictly technological and even a techno wizard equivalent is better.
Yeah, but did you see the price of those things though?
Oh, it's pricey. That's because it's that much better. A techno wizard version may be able to do the same thing, but you'd have to pump so much PP into it every freaking hour that it would be basically worthless unless you were an archmage of some kind. And then a technological equivalent would never be equivalent because it would never be able to do all the amazing things that this thing does and does forever, being powered by an immortal life force. So yeah, it's objectively better functionality wise in every single other alternative. But there's a downside. It's made from people.
Damien. No, they're usually, at least not in the write-ups. No, in the write-ups, they're either considered lobotomized or whatever.
Or they're just silent. They can see and you can see them, but it's all soundproof because even the Splugorth are like, yeah, those screams will get annoying after a while.
Yeah, didn't you see that the mermaid was, or merman, he's gagged?
He had a gag on.
And Darius says the child is more important. Well, if the child's more important, then you need the society to still function. So you're still going to have to donate a child in order for that society to function.
Yeah, every generation or so, someone has to donate their kid. I'm sure the parents are feeling a way about that, but it's that or their society crumbles into nothing.
So there you go. All right. Well, that was the Rifter number 23. Don't forget that there are a lot of good other articles in there. The living, the breathing magic or whatever it's called. You had the armies that you could do for rifts. How to set up mass armies that include wizards and psychics. There are a lot of good articles in that one. It was much better than the Rifter number 22. But like we said on the Rifter 22, hey, not everyone can be a winner. That's fine. And some are going to be better than others. And I think we picked it back up again with this one. So I hope you enjoy it. I don't know what I'm covering next week, especially with Heathen Dog not being here. I got to figure out something. Maybe I'll just sit here and stare at the camera and go, me play tabletop games. I don't know. But we'll figure that out at that time and hope to see you then.